I'm Becca and I'm one of the careers advisors here at the university. So welcome to our Meet the Grad session. It's good to see so many of you joining today. And a big thank you to our alumni guests who are here and have kindly given up their time to come speak to us. So all our speakers today are University of Manchester grads, so they know exactly what it's like to be in your shoes, and hopefully they'll be able to offer you some really good advice about your next steps. So it's a really unique opportunity today. You can ask anything that you want about their experience. So please do have a think about those questions you want to ask. If you do want to ask any questions, can I ask you that you pop them in the chat to Emma? She's got a little thing next to her name saying ask me questions, so please direct them to her and then I will read them out and ask our grad. Can I also just ask as well, could everybody please, I'm just going to pop a link in the chat. Could you please just register your attendance? It's just really good for us to see who attended today, and if we need any feedback from you we can ask for it, so that would be great if you could do that. So first of all, I'm going to ask each of our panelists to introduce themselves. So thank you again for all coming. So I'm going to start with Alicia, if that's okay.
I've just had a message, Becca, to say that Alicia's having computer problems, so maybe in with her when she's rejoined.
Okay, let's go on to Andre then.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm Andre. So yeah, I graduated from Manchester Business School in 2020 actually, yeah, the year of pandemic. And after I graduated, I got a job at the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce. So I'm working there as a marketing executive. And what we do is we support businesses. So it's a membership-based organisation. There's about 4,000 businesses in Manchester that are signed up to the membership at the Chamber. So we support them with services, initiatives, and events as well. And what I do is I help to market the Chamber, and also we provide marketing services to our members. So I help with the marketing plans for them as well. Yeah.
Okay. Ali.
Hi everyone, my name is Ali Kakwi, and I did my master's from the University of Manchester in business analysis and strategic management in 2021. And currently I'm working at NWEH, which is a health technology firm, as the digital marketing and comms manager. It's a really exciting time to be in the health tech firm after COVID-19, because the industry has been revolutionized with digital technologies and more tools for the electronic health records. And my core functions are looking after the development of a lot of materials from case studies, blogs. I look after the development of our websites. I've recently led the rebranding of the entire organizations, which included, the complete rebranding from the imagery to the assets developments, and a lot of case studies, blogs, articles on it. Prior to that, I have around 6 years of experience in marketing, and my recent role was working as a head of marketing in South Asia in Oppo, which is a smartphone brand, where I've led the product launches of over 25 products and done some really fantastic marketing campaigns, like doing fashion shoots with the smartphone product, to unboxing the smartphones in the Emirates business class at 30,000 feet, to experiencing the phone in Mount Everest as well. So yeah, I think marketing is something I'm really passionate about, and it is a really exciting field to be in. So feel free to ask any questions if you want to. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat, Emma. And we'll move on to Shravya.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Shravya. I pursued management and took specialism in international business economics last year and graduated over the summer. I found a job immediately after my graduation. So I work in a company called EPAP. EPAP is basically an in-school tutoring business which offers bespoke tuition for all the school students, and we hire gap year students and provide them placement years as a tutor. So my day-to-day role involves running email campaigns about our services, creating printed and digital marketing materials such as posters and banners using digital media tools such as Affinity Designer, Canva, etc. And I'm also responsible to create weekly updates that will send out to our tutors, and also recruitment newsletters that will go out to schools. And I'm also in charge of the social media for handling the social media, for handling our company social media platforms, and create a marketing pipeline for each month, and also manage and report the insights and analytics about on my campaigns. So yeah, that's my role in short. It's really lovely speaking to all of you today.
Thank you very much. And Alicia, is your connection okay now?
Yeah, apologies for that. Our battery died, of course, as soon as we started the call. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. I graduated from UOM. I did a degree in fashion marketing, graduated in 2020. Currently working as global marketing coordinator for fashion at Disney, here based in London. And I also did an internship with Disney as a creative intern back in 2019. So it was lovely to come back post-university. I kind of had a 6-month break after graduating, and then came back, moved down to London, started back in my grad role here at Disney. A bit about my day-to-day. So the type of projects that I tend to work on, I'm specifically working on Adidas and Pandora jewelry accounts, and we've recently just picked up ASOS as well. So in terms of like projects that I tend to work on, with the recent Black Panther 2 movie that came out in October last year, we worked with Adidas on creating all the costumes for the film. We also do product animation for Pandora jewelry, where they have like Disney Marvel collections. So it's quite a creative role, but obviously, as you can imagine, there's huge breadth with working across such contrasting accounts. So again, any questions that you have for me from more of like a creative marketing perspective, I'll be happy to answer for you.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So yeah, if you have any questions for our panelists, then please do pop them into the chat. So one question to start us off with is, so you've all been in the shoes of these students. What advice would you give to your past self in this situation? Like, what advice would you give to yourself to support you with your future career? Did we start with Alicia, because you've just finished chatting to us?
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest advice that I give to myself was when I was in the position, it would be essentially not really knowing what I wanted to do. So the biggest advice would just be to take every opportunity that I think is thrown at you, because even if you don't like it, that's still helping you in a way find out what you don't want to do, which is equally as important as finding out what you do want to do. I think networking is really important, connecting with other people and just getting experience. I know that that's so cliche and that's what everyone says, but just try and get as much experience, even if it's just a week, in as many different things as you can, just so you can really pinpoint what it is exactly that you want to do, because I think having that insight will then open so many more doors for you.
Brilliant. Any other inputs there?
Yeah, I'd say at the time probably focusing on doing mini projects yourself that kind of revolve around what you want to do. So for example, if you are into marketing or any kind of design or creativity, just see if there's anything that you can do in your own personal time which kind of relates to it, and that will help you when you start to apply to jobs. You may not have the experience as a new graduate, but if you've shown that you've utilized everything that you've learned while you've been in uni and whatnot, then it helps you kind of get a bit forward.
Yeah, I'd just like to add onto it as well is the art of selling yourself. I think the sooner you realize it, the better, because of course we live in a really competitive world and everyone's doing a lot of great stuff. So, you should understand the value of your own brand, and, you should network with the right people, utilize the right digital and offline tools as well. Just understand what your passion is about, and just make sure that you follow that path, meet the right people, network with the right people, And of course, at the same time, don't hesitate from self-promoting yourself, because if you're doing something, it should be out there. So yeah, the sooner you realize, the better.
Thanks, Sally. That's really insightful. Thank you. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, not exactly that, but I just want to say that getting a job right now is like a really, really stressful thing. And I would tell my younger self that don't panic, don't really think about too many things. Just apply to that job, read the job description. Don't apply for every other job that you find. Just apply to the ones that you're really interested in, because that will increase your chance in landing the job, because you're putting most of your concentration on the one particular job application rather than doing hundreds of them. And then just don't get disappointed if you get a no from an employer, because that's what I faced a lot. I applied to almost like 200 marketing jobs, but then it took me 1 year to get into a marketing job. So I was really disheartened whenever I got a rejection, but then rejection is a part of getting a job. So just accept that and just be strong. You will definitely land into a job that will really impact you better, and that a job that you will make a difference to. So yeah, that's my advice.
Brilliant, thank you. So our first question from the students is, how did you guys put your CVs together? What was particularly helpful in that process for you? And anyone? Yeah.
I would say after reading the job description, most of it talks about communication skill. Like it depends upon the job description. My role, like the current job that I am in, it required me to handle social media platforms and etc. of that sort. And uh, I I try to build my CV and add the experiences where I actually handle the social media platforms, or where I actually use my creative skills. I would suggest everybody to like change their CV for each and every job. I know that's a really difficult, it's really challenging, but then you will definitely have to change your CV according to the job description.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Any additions to that?
I suggest making your CV quite focus on keywords. I know a lot of companies use automated systems initially when they're kind of looking at CV. So just trying to make sure you get all those keywords in there, all those buzzwords that really relate to the skills that they're looking for in their job description, and that relates to whatever role that you're looking to apply for.
Mm-hmm. Sierra or Ali, anything further to add?
Yeah, I think another thing which I learned during my master's program was self-reflection, which we actually did a final paper on. So of course, when you're putting a CV on, you'll need to look at the job description. You'll need to use the keywords to pass the automated system. But of course, self-reflection is really important. Your own value proposition, what makes you stand out. And depends on the experience as well. If you're looking for grad roles, so your CV would be definitely different. But if you have worked in the past, so of course, just the learnings from what you achieved, what you did well. And again, it's good to also use the star format in the CVs as well. So talk about the results, what you've actually accomplished in the roles as well. So you in the beginning of your jobs or your any volunteer positions, what exactly your situations were and what you ended up achieving. And the last thing is, again, I think if you're looking for more mid-level or experienced roles, it's also good to reach out to the recruiters as well, just to stand out again and send across the CV. But that helps a lot. So that's another tip which I've always, it worked out for me.
Yeah, I guess nothing too different to add. I just think more from like a cover letter perspective. So we, when we're taking on new interns each year, go through the review process with CVs, and I think it's the cover letter that really is the make or break with whether we take someone through to the next step. And I think just to reiterate one of the other guys' points is that applying to jobs that you are passionate about, in the industries you're passionate about, and roles that you really want to do, it really does come through in your cover letter, kind of like the authenticity of that. So it's definitely worth taking the time to kind of pinpoint roles that, even if you think you may not have all of the right experience for, at the end of the day, if you're passionate about something, I think companies nowadays are so much more open to investing their time in people who are going to be super receptive of that, and they know that are going to put time and energy into the business. So yeah, pinpointing companies and jobs that are right for you, you're passionate about, and channeling that through your CV, because I think that more so is a place where you have the opportunity to completely sell yourself.
Brilliant, thank you. And actually picking up on what you said there about passion versus experience, one of the questions is a little kind of related to this, because this student asked, I do a psychology degree and I would like to do a marketing master's, but is this necessary to go into the industry? And what kind of educational requirements do employers look for when applying to marketing jobs? So is it necessary to have that marketing educational master's, or is it more about the experience or the passion, as you just said? What do you think?
From my own personal experience, obviously my intern and my postgrad job have both been at the same place. So I do know at Disney there is a requirement to have a degree to get employed here. I don't know if that's consistent across all companies. It probably isn't. I think the creative side of marketing is probably a lot easier to get into without a degree, or without a degree that's relevant to marketing, because essentially creativity is, I guess, something that's personal to you, and it's more of a talent than academic. So yeah, in terms of, I guess, like more academic side of marketing, that may be something where there are set requirements, but definitely from a creative perspective, I think if you're able to build a portfolio or freelance or work on individual projects, then you're definitely able to get your foot in the door equally as easy, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Is that the same in other companies? Ali,
Yeah.
perhaps?
I'd like to add on it, because I've never done a degree in marketing myself the entire life. So I did my undergrad in economics and politics, actually. And I started my career with an entrepreneurial venture, which failed within a year, quite devastating. And then I got a job in sales, and I did a job in sales for 1 year, traveling, across different cities, districts. But then that's where, it's also about what you're looking at. So I used to look at people who were working in marketing, and that really caught my eye and got me interested. So I started talking to those people. I started connecting with them personally or on LinkedIn as well, and started attending some events, because I am from a smartphone industry background previously. So I'd attend events. I'd put up a blog of my own, so I'd start writing over there as well, and that's what incited my passion to get into the field of marketing. So even if you're not from the academic backgrounds, what I'd always suggest is that don't hesitate in even starting from a smaller position, because your focus should be to learn within the departments and grow from there. And that's what I did. I gave up on a huge chunk of salary and perks just to get into marketing, but that paid me off well. Within 6 months, I was the keynote speaker of the company. I was traveling the world, and I was actually getting trained from within the jobs itself. So that's one thing. But again, there are a lot of opportunities to upskill yourselves over the internet. There are a lot of boot camps. There are a lot of courses over the internet. So yeah, just in a nutshell, even if you're not from that background, you can easily get in, and you should not stop learning, because marketing itself is changing every year. What we did 5 years ago is really redundant, and of course, there are so many new technologies that has evolved. So everyone needs to keep learning, regardless of what degree you are from.
Brilliant, thank you. Anything further to add to that, Andre or Sri? No problem if not.
No, I second I think what Alicia said about if you're going to make portfolios and try prove what you can do, even if it's not in any kind of formal way. It goes a long way when you start applying for roles in the job.
Yeah, thank you.
I really agree with Ali's point. I myself have has done international business economics as my major, but then I ended up in marketing because I've done a lot of part-time jobs and most of them involved in creating campaigns, etc. And that's when really my interest or love for marketing sparkled. So I would say just engage with as many opportunities as you get, and as many volunteering clubs or as many project or enactors projects are available. Just go and work with them. Then you'll actually realize what you're really into, and you'll really get a lot of experience which you can add in your CV. So I really don't think having a marketing degree is really important to get into marketing. All you need to have is experience, some marketing experience, and you need to really sell yourself.
Perfect, thank you. So we touched on this a little bit with Smithy. This question is, how did you find your first role after graduation, and how easy or difficult was it to secure something as you were also studying?
I'll happily go first on this one.
Jean.
So I think maybe it's becoming more common now, but with internships, I guess typically they tend to, if they have roles available or they do offer entry-level jobs, a lot of places will like offer you a role to come back once you finish your degree. So that is kind of what happened with me. There wasn't a role available in exactly what I wanted to do. So luckily I just networked so much when I was here and just tried to get a feel across the business, meet as many people as possible, and they actually created a role for me to come back post degree in exactly what I wanted to do. So I think just making those connections, building relationships is equally as important as kind of like the work that you put out, because there's obviously the common phrase about it's not what you know, it's who you know, and as cliche as it is, it definitely does play a big role in getting a job nowadays, which I guess is kind of it's a shame, but also can work to your advantage. So I think if you are in a position where you've done an internship or you're looking at some internships, I definitely like set the seed early on that if it is something that you'd like to do full-time post-degree, like kind of make that known, because then you can kind of like work with your managers to like build those relationships and ensure that that is an avenue that they can open up for you.
Thank you, that was really helpful. Any other additions to that?
Yeah, in a similar kind of way, I had a placement. It was a 6-month placement at the Chamber of Commerce when I just after I graduated, and after that 6-month placement, that's when I got on full time. And I think at first I was thinking, oh, 6-month placement isn't paying as well as other jobs, and I was thinking, what happens if after 6 months, I don't get it? But I just tried my hardest, and I kind of thought, it's good to get my foot in the door at an established place as well. And well, it's worked out now, hasn't it? So that's great. So I would say, I wouldn't sacrifice yourself for any, placement that you wouldn't want to do anyway. But if you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you can see that this is a place that you kind of want to be, and then I would recommend that, you look at any kind of placements or yeah, anything of the sort.
Anything to add, Ali or Shri? No worries if not.
Could you just repeat the question again, please? I missed the second part of the question.
Don't worry. This one was, how did you find your first role after graduation, and how easy or difficult was it to secure something as you were also studying?
Okay, so I secured this job. I was using the University Career Connect platform. So I was just surfing that and really found the job description really interesting. So applied to this job, and I always made sure that every week I apply to at least 10 jobs or something of that sort. So it was just about planning how to manage your time and then applying to the jobs that you really like, not for every job, just the ones that you really like. So read the job description. That's my only suggestion.
I'm really happy to learn that you found the roles from Career Connect, because it is a really useful platform, and I'd encourage everyone to look at it. Yeah. Anything further for you to add, Ali?
Yeah, so the current job which I'm doing is actually, I found it through LinkedIn itself. So it was a good hit and trial. But yeah, again, it's the chances of getting a job via LinkedIn Easy Apply is very less. But sometimes you just you just get lucky. You catch the eyes of the recruiter, and then I met the people who work at NWH and the vision they had, and I wanted to join them along that vision and carry forward that legacy in terms of marketing as well. But another thing is that, which everyone has highlighted before, is referrals also help you a lot. So while I was studying, I did reach out to a few connections who were working, for example, in Amazon or Google as well. And they referred me for those roles, and which helped me secure the interviews and progress till the last stages. So yeah, just reach out to your connections, your friends, your families, anyone who's working in the companies which are your target list. So referrals do help you a lot in terms of streamlining your initial process. And then of course it's your CV, it's your cover letter, but it just puts you on the top, just in front of the eyes of the recruiter. But it just doesn't guarantee an interview. But of course, it does help you just get to the right stage.
Yeah. Thank you. So this question is, how can I improve myself before submitting applications? I found that students studying computer science can improve their chances of getting a job by doing code questions. But for marketing students, I don't know what to do except to constantly apply. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think another thing could be to look at roles which involve some sort of analytics and marketing, because there are a lot of marketing jobs that have now included, analytic roles within itself. So marketing analytics, CRM analytics, CRM is CRM marketing is a very emerging field where some sort of analytics are involved as well. So these are the things you could, bring your extra values and skills in terms of the analytics skills, whilst you should develop some skills in terms of digital marketing as well. So you just upskill yourself in that space as well. So you have the added advantage of coding, IT, technology, but you do know the basics of digital marketing. I think you should pursue some sort of careers in digital marketing, CRM marketing as well. And yeah, I think that would help you a lot.
So this next question is, we've talked quite a bit about internships and experience opportunities. So this one says, do you have any tips on applying to those summer internships or short work experience opportunities when you don't yet have much relevant experience? So say it's your first internship you're applying for. Do you have any tips for our students?
Again, just speaking from my experience, I guess it's quite similar. I'd only really worked like retail jobs before. I'd worked at Dot Mines and Morrison's before applying to my internship at Disney in my third year at uni, second year. So I guess it is hard to sell yourself when you're in that position. But I guess circling back to cover letters, that you will have experience that you may not even think is directly relevant, but there are ways in which you can link it to the job that you're applying for. Say, for example, I don't know, if you made like a TikTok account during lockdown and you're looking for like a social media marketing role, whilst at one angle you may just see that as a hobby, like to a business that's like kind of, I don't know, really favorable for them. It's entrepreneurial, it's showing that you've got knowledge of social media marketing and that you're able to kind of like tap into your own needs and get the outcome that you want. So even if, I don't know, it's something as little as organizing a company's social media page, if you play for a sports team and you run their Instagram account, even if it's just a joke, there's all kind of like experience that you will have had through life that I think you can tailor to be relevant for the internship. And I think it's also important to not put so much pressure on yourself to have loads of experience in that stage, because I think there is kind of like a lot of pressure to say, like, you do have to have experience to even be able to get experience. But I think companies are becoming more understanding of the fact that an internship, you are there to learn. So you're not going to know everything. You're not going to have done 3 placements before that. So I think that circles back again to just showing that you're passionate about who you're applying to work for, and that's gonna, I think, work wonders for you. And also reaching out to companies that maybe like smaller companies, startups, independent brands that don't even have internships advertised, and just saying, I'm a fan of your brand, like I would love to have a month's experience working with you. I think like putting yourself out there in that way is something that, from my experience, brands do love to receive that kind of information, and then they will hopefully take you on.
Thanks, Lucy. That was really helpful. So a big focus on kind of transferable skills there, and also speculative applications. Is there any other comments that anyone would like to add to that?
Yeah, I'd just like to second the part about putting yourself out there. I think just being as proactive as you can be. I know when I was in my final year in 2020, I was looking for internships through uni, but I wasn't able to find one during the year. And then it was only when lockdown happened towards the end of my final year, and there was that summer right after I was just about to graduate, and I had a lot of time on my hands. And then that's when I just decided to be proactive about looking for or an internship or a placement or something of the sort. And that's when I found what I found, and that was from like I was saying, just messaging, emailing a list of digital marketing firms in Manchester, and everywhere else on LinkedIn as well. And just seeing who replies, making new connections, and even if they don't have any like spaces available there, they'll know people, so then they'll start to introduce you to other people, and that's how I managed to end up at the chamber as well. So yeah.
Thank you. A big focus on LinkedIn here, I've noticed as well. Like, do you all still find that now like a really useful tool? Is that something that you've used a lot? And we recommend our students use it, so we're trying to encourage, because a lot of students don't yet have LinkedIn accounts, and I just think it's a really useful networking tool. So have you found that to be the case so far?
Yeah, I personally find LinkedIn great, especially for kind of like more niche jobs and like smaller brands as well. There's so many jobs on there that I personally feel like you wouldn't really find anywhere else, especially if companies are kind of like looking for a quick hire, or they really want to refine their search. There's so many jobs on there that you may then go onto the wider company careers page and it's not even advertised yet. They may have put it on LinkedIn early. So if you do kind of want to get the early applications in, obviously through doing it in LinkedIn, you can also see who else works at the company, see what their experiences are, see what their day-to-day is like. It does give you kind of like a more holistic overview and insight into if that's kind of like a company or a job that you do actually want to apply for.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to add is it's great for your self-branding as well, and which has helped me personally. So, whatever you do in your job roles, in your student roles, if you're working for any societies, you should make sure that, you put that up on LinkedIn, because the algorithm of LinkedIn works very differently to the ones from Facebook and Instagram. And it does help you, stand out from the crowd. So regardless of finding jobs over there, it does help you get good traction in terms of your personal profiling, and which has helped me a lot from my personal experience in the past. And yeah, I recommend everyone to just start using it and start putting things which you're doing in your professional or student career, which could actually go up there as well. So yeah.
Thank you. And have you found as well that if you message people on LinkedIn, do you often get replies? Like when we were talking about speculative applications before, was that done through LinkedIn? Did you get good response rates from people? Are people happy to talk to you about roles, do you find?
Yeah, I think there's definitely kind of like an appetite from employers or people who work in any type of recruitment to have you kind of like reach out to them first, because I guess again it just shows that authenticity. And I think if you just kind of like sift your way through LinkedIn to find the relevant department to have these conversations with, they are definitely responsive and will always point you in the right direction. Super helpful. So yeah, it's good, I think, as well to kind of have that link of direct contact with someone already at the business. So I'd always recommend LinkedIn.
Perfect. Thank you. This question is, Bit of a long one. So as an international student, I would be interested in applying for companies that sponsor students in the UK. Digging a little more into the specifics, I'd love to have a career in international marketing in specifics. How do you suggest I go about filtering relevant companies that would be willing to sponsor for this role? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think there's a list available on the internet of the companies that actually sponsor you. So that could be a good start to filter. So look for the roles in marketing, and then filter it via the Excel sheets that are available from Gov UK, which has an updated list. It's updated every week with all the companies who are willing to sponsor you. And look for grad roles as well. And I think that could be a good start as well.
Yeah, thank you. Any other thoughts on that one? Quite a difficult question. No? Okay, that's fine. So just thinking about your particular area of marketing, what particular skills do you think are most important in your roles, and that students should look to develop before they apply?
To be honest, me being a marketing executive, I think it's very broad what I do. You know, it's ranges from web design to social media to creating a plan for a campaign and a promotion to be going out, and also creating plans for other businesses to follow as well. I think one thing I've learned over the past, say, like 2 years working here is that I really had to build up my analytical skills. Obviously, in university, we kind of learn a bit about this. Well, I did business and marketing, so we kind of learned a bit about the analytical stuff, but putting it into practice, that's something I really had to brush upon in the past 2 years. So like doing Google Analytics courses and just doing some courses that work with data a bit more, just so I can just be a lot more proficient, really. Obviously there's the creative side, but I think I've always had that creative side. I used to do graphic design when I was younger, so that it came a bit more naturally to me. But yeah, I think it's the more analytical side that I've really had to develop in the past 2 years.
Let's go ahead, thank you. Ali, maybe?
Yeah, having some great communication skills helps you a lot, internally and externally as well. As a marketer, you know, you're always supposed to not just create content that's supposed to communicate, but for yourself as well. And being a good team player, so you're supposed to collaborate with people from all functions, and they're actually relying on you to, you know, promote the different brands, services, products. So yeah, you need to just, you know, be collaborative, be a good team player. And for me, I think communication skills work a lot. And yeah, uh, creativity is something which I'm also very passionate about. So, you know, just coming up with the creative ideas out of the box, that helps a lot. And of course, if you're looking into the digital marketing space, so just learning more about the different channels of advertisements, analytics could be one, and of course, you know, search, paid, YouTube, stuff like that as well.
Brilliant, thank you. Alicia, would you agree with those skills, or have you got others in your role?
Yeah, definitely. I think one that took me a bit by surprise when I first started my job back here after graduating was obviously when you coordinating a campaign, all these multiple elements, you're trying to activate a campaign globally. You may have a billboard in Times Square, you may have an influence event happening in London all on the same day. So I think like the main skill that I guess like surprised me, which I also had to work on, was kind of like budget management. So say you're given 100 grand to activate this campaign in North America, is it worth spending 50 grand on one thing, or can that 50 grand be split into 5 different things? So I guess that also links in maybe just like with critical thinking, like how is this going to benefit the business, generate ER? So just making sure that you go into kind of like every task with like a holistic overview and like the outcome that you want being the forefront of all the decisions that you make. But yeah, definitely scrubbing up on those Excel skills where possible, because it will definitely come in handy down the line.
Thank you. Anything else to add to that, Sri? I feel like I keep coming to you last. I'm really sorry. And then
That's okay. I would say adaptability, because marketing is a really fast-paced and fast-changing field with like lot of new practices and tools and standards emerging constantly. So I would say just keeping up with the market trends and just knowing what is working better and what is not working better for you personally is a must. And apart from that, marketing involves like a lot of last minute jobs, such as like reviewing the content and then updating it, or like having like proper attention to detail. So I would say those are also necessary. And apart from that, problem solving is a must. As a creativity in problem solving is also a must, because you have to show that you like the target audience are having a problem and our company is the right one to solve your problem. So you need to really understand how like the psychology of the target audience, and then design your campaigns based on that. So yeah.
brilliant, thank you. That was really helpful. We've got a few here more about kind of like work environment and culture. So the first question is, what is the working environment like where you are? I've already talked to Alicia about her cool like the background with the Toy Story characters in the window. It looks like a really cool office. But yeah, so if we start with you, Alicia, what's the working environment like there?
I will be completely transparent. The
Yeah.
culture has taken a bit of a dip at Disney in the past month, I'd say, just because our CEO recently announced that he's requiring us to be in office 4 days a week as opposed to 3 as a mandatory, starting from the 1st of May. So everyone's kind of like a bit fed up from hearing that news. But I think prior to that, the culture was amazing. Like, we have characters just walking around the office, like there's a cinema in the office. So it's kind of like everything that you imagine, I guess, Disney to, I sound like a Disney ad, but everything that you imagine Disney to be, or that you remember Disney being as a kid, is definitely transferred through the workspace here. It's all very colourful, very playful, and I guess kind of like in terms of like people culture, there's always like just a general overwhelming willingness for people to help you. Everyone wants everyone to succeed. We all have the same goal, I guess, at the end of the day. So yeah, I think if 4 days a week doesn't bother you, then I'd definitely recommend a job at Disney, because everything else about working here is amazing.
That's really good to hear. Apart from the slump for the month, but yeah. Anyone else? Do you hybrid work, remote work? What's the culture like if you do go into the office?
Yeah, so we work in a hybrid setting. So we do tend to go to the office for some meetings, but yeah, not as fancy as Disney. But again, just like to add a lot of focus on inclusivity and diversity as a whole, which is a great thing. And we just had the International Women's Day yesterday, and we have a great force of women. Actually, 7 out of 8 heads of teams are led by women, which is great. You're promoting a lot of inclusivity and equity within the organization, and it's an open culture. We're still a small company, up to 200 people, so you could just knock the door of the CEO, just go meet them, talk to them, share your ideas, and get approval. So yeah, openness, giving your employees more autonomy, and making the work culture more inclusive is really crucial in this time and age.
Thank you. Anything else to add? Yeah. I noticed you on mute and then mute. No? Okay, no problem. We'll move on to the next. Can everyone still hear me okay? It's not an issue with me. Okay, just checking. Wondered if
So I think mine was just cutting out a little bit.
Oh, was it you? Okay, I didn't know what was going on. Go ahead.
No, I think the culture at Chambers it's great. I mean, I think when I started, I was probably the youngest person there, and now I think in the past 2 years there's a lot more young people there. So it feels like it's a bit nice now. There's people your age kind of just to bounce off and to get along with. And yeah, but I think one of the things is that I was kind of quite I found quite hard to get to grips with was how what's the word, the attention to revenue and how it impacts on a month-by-month basis. And now you're getting revenue reports, and our target's this, but we're operating here. And even though it's not directly linked to what you're doing in marketing, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But just sometimes thinking, oh, I spent ages on this campaign we did, and we only brought in XYZ amount of revenue, and you're thinking, oh, like, gosh, is this ship going down because this campaign didn't really work out? I mean, usually it's not the case, but sometimes that's something which kind of gets hard to deal with. But yeah, I think just trying to learn how to kind of go over that, really.
Yeah. Got quite a few more questions in the chat. Unless you have anything to add, Sri, before we move on to the next question.
My company culture is like a very open and transparent, has like a very open and transparent culture, and 60% of our leadership team are women. So there's a lot of diversity, and they are very, very encouraging. For example, I'm the only international student, and they like a recent graduate, so even the CEO comes and talks to me, and she makes sure that I'm also involved in the projects, and we have like the team meetings or thrice every week. So we just put our ideas together, work on them. So they're really supportive of every idea that I put into. So yeah.
Thank you. So I've got quite a few. Okay, so this one is, did you ever feel like you don't have a good enough portfolio, CV, or experience because there's going to be others who are better than you, therefore they will get the job? If yes, how did you deal with overcoming that feeling? It's quite a tough one. I think this is quite a common thing, imposter syndrome. It's a hard one to answer.
Yeah, I could go with that. I think always you always feel that, but I was reading somewhere that especially people from diverse backgrounds and ethnic minorities, they tend to apply less to the roles because they think that they're not capable of doing that particular job. So yeah, I've felt the same, because I think the job descriptions are designed in a way that probably they want everything out of an employee, but the reality is a bit different once you get into the organization. So there's no harm in setting up if you get the first interview call. So setting up the first call, and it should work both ways. It shouldn't be that you're at the other end of receiving the job or the interview. So it's not just because you're giving the interview that you're the one who's answering all the questions. So you should also understand more about the role from the hiring manager or the recruiters as well, and probably then you can decide if if it's suited to your capabilities or not.
Without getting too like philosophical about it, I think you're feeling that way, then chances are everyone else is also feeling that way. So I think obviously it's easier said than done, but at the end of the day, you know what you know. You have to believe in your craft. You're applying for a reason. You've been offered an interview for a reason. So irrespective of how well other people may perform, your time with an employer is not about them. It's really just your time to talk about you, showcase what you can do, bring your personality to it as well. I think that also helps. But yeah, if you do feel like that, chances are everyone else also feels like that, especially if it's maybe like the first proper role outside of maybe a part-time job that you're applying for. But you've gone through the time, you've invested the time in doing a degree, like your stuff, so there's no reason why you shouldn't go in there and like just completely back yourself, because at the end of the day you are qualified to be in that room and take that seat and talk what you need to talk. So yeah, just go in there with confidence and fake it till you make it if you don't feel confident.
That was very motivational, thank you. I'm not sure if you'll know the answer to this one, so it's fine if the answer is no to this. So do you know of any free online courses in marketing or communications that you can share with our students? No problem if not.
Google has a lot of free courses. So Google Academy, Google Garage, you could get some courses from there. You could apply for scholarships on Coursera as well, which is quite an easy process as well. And additionally, there are a lot of boot camps available from the government of the UK. So you could explore that in the future as well.
Mhm.
I
I
also
think there's a good.
know, sorry, you first.
Oh,
Sophie.
go on. Yeah, I think there's a good one called Udemy. That they've got quite a few skills on there.
I was just going to say as well, during lockdown, I'm not sure if it's still live, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. Harvard University actually released a whole spectrum of free courses that were accredited. You'd get certificates in wherever at the end of it. So they're free and accessible. I can maybe share the link with you, Beck, or something afterwards to pass through.
That would be great.
But I was just so bored during lockdown, so I did a few of those. But yeah, they're really good as well.
Well, thank you.
I would say there's this company called Girls in Marketing, if you have heard about it. So there's a website and they have all the top skills that a marketer need to have, and they have the free courses available. So if you have a chance, just go visit the website. They have like the top listed skills and the course that you need to do in order to get those skills. So that is really helpful. I've done like a lot of courses from that website. So yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. See, I thought you wouldn't have any, and then you had loads. That's brilliant. Thank you. The second part of this question was, what are the best internships with top marketing and communications companies? If you have any idea, which ones the top ones are that people should look at, no problem if not.
If you're looking for marketing communications companies, I think you should look for agencies like Mediacom, Starcom, the Publicis Group, Havas. So it depends. I think if you're looking into the marketing comms internships, you should definitely start working with some of these big agencies or creative agencies as well, or some public relationship agencies like Weber Shandwick is another option. So yeah, anything, in terms of just, you could simply type in the marketing agencies in maybe Northwest or the UK as a whole, and you could get a list of those and you could apply to those. So I think that would be good to start your career in marketing comms.
Yeah, I would also reiterate Ali's point there in terms of agencies. We work with a few agencies here, and obviously when you are agency side, you work with a number of clients. So whilst we just work with this one agency, at the agency they're working with maybe 50 other clients. So I think also another thing to note is, if you are working agency side, you do still have that opportunity to build the relationship. So we've got employers here who used to work at some of our agencies who Disney have now taken on as Disney-owned employees. So it's definitely good for initial experience, I think, as well, and getting as many doors open as possible. You can make so many great connections through agency work for sure.
Great, thank you. I'm feeling really conscious of time. It's gone really quickly and we've only got a few minutes left. So I think maybe we'll close with, I'll give you an option of questions. So either what do you enjoy most about your role, or you could sign off with some top tips for our students. Up to you. Should we start with, does anyone want to go first?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't quite catch that.
Okay, don't worry. Could you tell us either what you enjoy most about your role, or maybe just a final few tips for our students, either of those?
Oh, yeah. What I enjoy most about my role, I guess probably just working on projects. Really, just yeah, applying everything that I know, meeting people, and seeing how projects turn out. And yeah, any other tips? I'd probably say just keep learning even after you finish uni. Like someone said earlier, marketing's kind of a fast-paced changing industry, so there's always going to be something new that's coming along. So yeah, just stay on top of it, keep learning, and if it's your passion, then yeah, should be great to keep learning.
Thank you. Shri?
I would say my favorite aspect is like the variety of the work that I get. Every day is very different. Some days I need to work on a certain type of email marketing campaigns. The other day I need to work on social media campaigns. So I get to I get to improve my skills a lot and learn new things every day. And my advice to the ones who are applying for job is just keep applying. One day you will definitely get a yes. I'm being very motivational, but then this is actually true because I've applied for an year. I was disheartened every time, but then in the end, after the graduation, I got a job. So if I could get it, you will definitely get it. So just don't be disheartened, just don't get demotivated. You will definitely get a job.
Thank you. Alicia, Ali?
I think my favorite part about my job for me is I think with the type of marketing that I do, I don't know if it's consistent if you're in a more analytical role, but there's always a tangible outcome for me. So I'd be maybe walking around a shopping center and I'll see like a shop window that we've designed or something like that. So that's obviously really rewarding. Being at Disney, there are obviously quite a few good perks as well. So I think that definitely helps with the current slog that we're currently in. But yeah, just being a part of, I guess, like something bigger and having like a unified vision, it just all feels super rewarding. And it's Disney at the end of the day, like you just sprinkling magic into everyone's lives. So it is a really nice feeling for sure.
Thank you. And Ali, anything you enjoy or final tips?
For me, it has always been content creation that comes on the top of the list. So, working with co-branding with different brands. For example, in my role at Oppo, I've launched smartphones with L'Oreal Paris. I've launched a FC Barcelona limited edition gold-plated smartphone and, run campaigns around it, sponsored the Cricket World Cup and, created campaigns around it, traveled to different places. Influencer marketing. So, anything that comes with content creation for TV ads, digital ads, social media as well, because that gets the creative person out of you and you want to stand out from, your competitors. And, if that thing becomes the talk of the town, so you feel immense pride in it. And that's has been my focus in life, and just working on brand videos, product videos, and stuff like that is something I've really enjoyed.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for attending today. This has been really insightful. I've really enjoyed it as well. Just a reminder to our students, you can add our panelists on LinkedIn if you want. You can connect with them. If you've got any more questions, I'm sure I'm hoping they'd be happy to answer any of them via LinkedIn. So please do connect with them. And Emma's also posted in the chat a small feedback form. So if you've got any feedback for us, please do put it on there. So yeah, thank you again for coming, and thank you for our students for coming as well.